All right, so boom, Jake Paul can't keep getting away with this because his fight against Mike Tyson was absolute ass. So I was able to find the one person, or dare I say, the one entity that can put him out of his misery.
Artu was my personal trainer back in my fighting days.
Leading up to the fight. Activate the robots, fire up the AI, bring them to the ring and let them take care of Jake Paul, and somehow still they gonna throw the fight for money like. I'm so tired of this shit, fam. I told y'all, ain't no way outside of a Mike Tyson knockout in the first round are we going to see this man win the fight. It was damn near a guarantee that Jake Paul was gonna mess around and win. Now, granted, $20 million is enough to make somebody mess around and take a dive. Everybody wanna talk about, would you throw away your legacy, Mike? Would you throw it away? Remember years ago when Mike was throwing the belts around?
This is garbage. I can say, hey, I bled for garbage.
So this is meaningless?
No, at one time it meant a lot. When you're just a young kid, this is everything to you. But then you realize your priorities change. And you just want your children to be happy and do nice things, and that makes you happy. This is nothing.
I don't know why anybody thought this would turn out any other way different. In fact, before the fight, Mike Tyson had an interview with a young lady named I Am Jazzy, where he himself said,
"What type of legacy would you like to leave behind when it's all said and done?"
Well, I don't know. I don't believe in the word legacy. I just think that's another word for ego. Legacy doesn't mean nothing. That's just some word everybody grabbed onto. Someone said that word and everyone grabbed on the word, so now it's used every 5 seconds. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm just passing through. I'm going to die, and it's going to be over. Who cares about legacy after that? What a big ego. So I'm going to die. I want people to think that I'm this, I'm great. No, we're nothing. We're just dead. We're dust. We're absolutely nothing. Our legacy is nothing.
this man don't give a damn. He almost died from an ulcer in June. He just happy to be alive. I think this is another example of where the fans cared way more than the individual who just so happened to be the man in the arena, that being Mike Tyson. We all wanted to believe that he could go out there, turn back the clock, look like the Mike from the 80s and the 90s, but that just ain't the case. 58-year-old man, and all of us got duped again, and I keep myself included, despite the fact that I did say it's gonna be a genjutsu from the start. That did not mean that I wasn't gonna sit around and tune in. We all keep getting caught with the genjutsu. But I could sleep comfortable at night because at least some of us were streaming the fight in the East, or those of us who had access to a Netflix account, you had a chance to go and watch the fight and you ain't have to worry about catching a genjutsu right in your face, despite the fact that the stream kept possibly popping and locking the entire time. Looked like Chris Brown in the midst of a solo. I could not understand why the stream kept buffering the entire time. But the people who were really the victims of the genjutsu were the individuals who just so happened to get magnificently ticketed prices to go and watch the fight live, and I'm pretty sure they got their tickets on Game Time.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
All right, so boom. The NFL, NHL, NBA are off to magnificent starts, and the holiday season is steadily approaching. So what better way to gift yourself or somebody else an amazing experience by attending a live game? And there's no better location to go and grab tickets than with Game Time. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Just a couple weeks ago, I was in Pittsburgh, Monday Night Football, when the Steelers took on the Giants. How you think I got there? I got my tickets on Game Time. Might I add, with Game Time, you can save up to 60% off when buying last-minute tickets. The closer to the event, the cheaper the tickets are. And Game Time implemented a brand new feature called Game Time Picks, where they filter out all of the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time and energy searching through thousands of tickets. And they don't only have tickets for sports. You can go watch comedy shows. You can go to live music. You could even go watch the Blue Man Group. I didn't even know what the Blue Man Group did my entire life, and I got my tickets on Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and sporting event tickets with Game Time Picks by clicking the link in my description, downloading the Game Time app, creating an account, use promo code Adonis, and save $20 off your very first purchase. Terms apply. So again, download the Game Time app, Create an account. Use promo code Adonis, ADONIS, and save $20. Download the Game Time app today, because what time is it? Game time.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Shameless plug, couldn't help myself. But in all seriousness, now everybody's coming out the woodwork to continue to call out Jake Paul. You have Ryan Garcia coming out. Daniel Dubois, who's the current IBF heavyweight champion, coming out. You have countless retired individuals talk about possibly they want to go and fight. Evander Holyfield's not challenging Jake Paul, but he did indeed challenge Mike Tyson and say, let's go and get a trilogy. Because now it's no longer about the art in the ring and the violence that comes with it and inflicting it upon your opponent and imposing your will. It's all about that check. That always played a role before, but now it's since become the forefront of everything. Because ain't no reason why you at this stage would want to step into the ring and not fight for money. I'm not going to be a fool and make it seem as if that's not a large component to the decision. But when it appears to be the only reason why should we as fans go and tune in? You might as well just do it where there ain't no doggone cameras and you happen to have this fight so you can go and impose your will on somebody if that's really what you want to do. But everybody who coming out talk about, man, I don't want to fight Jake Paul, I'm going to go and teach him a lesson. You know damn well you chasing the check, and just call it what it is, fam. And it appears that the vast majority of people will be willing to go and take that L willfully, because you're getting such a large mass payout. Now, do I say that Tyson went out there and completely threw the fight? No. However, I will admit, similar to what I said in the prior video, Tyson simply did not look very good in the training in comparison to what he was in his prime. Too many people out here really expected this 58-year-old man to go out there, turn back the clock, and look like the Tyson from the 80s and the 90s. You are a fool. All right, there was no reason why anybody should have thought that was going to happen. Furthermore, anybody looks good in edited videos after it had already transpired and you posted post-production. There's no reason why anybody who watched him do live, sparring and live training. I believe it was a couple of days before the fight when Netflix had him in the ring, throwing some lefts and rights and things of that nature. Anybody who's a fan of Mike could tell you, man, this don't even look like a good version of this brother. All right? Mike against Roy Jones was a one-off. He looked nice against Roy Jones. You want to know why? Because both of them was in their 50s. Why did people think this man was going to go out there and lay Jake out? Now, granted, there's some conspiracy theorists out there saying, well, he was pulling his punches. You see countless different videos in which Mike had open shots, but for whatever reason ain't pulled the trigger. That can be discussed another day. And furthermore, we'll probably never know unless Mike just so happened to come out and talk about it. So as far as I'm concerned,
No one will ever know!
now I know what you're thinking. What's up next for Jake? And this is where I think we can identify who Jake Paul's next opponent could mess around and be. Because, of course, as I stated earlier, he got called out by current IBF champion Daniel Dubois. He got called out by Ryan Garcia, who's in a completely different weight class. Got called out by Conor McGregor years prior. And then now Jake Paul is trying to see if he can push to make that fight happen, despite the fact that that's two different sports and fighting styles. So now you want to go and step into the octagon and take on Conor McGregor, who's coked out of his mind, who has no real, willfulness to go and step back into the octagon for all intents and purposes, especially since he backed out in the fight against Chandler. But there was an injury. He doesn't seem as if he ever wants to go and fight ever again. For the right price, he just might. But still, I think for Jake Paul, because he talked about at one point wanting to be champion, now is the best time, if ever, to go and start calling out top 10 fighters. If you want to be a heavyweight or cruiserweight, whatever the case may be, start calling out top 10 fighters who happen to be in the weight class that you desire to be in and start fighting them. You could fight against somebody like a Deontay Wilder, who's desperately looking for an opponent for all intents and purposes. I think he was just trying to challenge Francis Ngannou, who's not even a boxer for all intents and purposes. He just returned back to MMA. So he may no longer be top 10. We could sit around and be like, well, Deontay Wilder just so happened to be Wilder. But at least you have somebody whose full-time career just so happened to be that of a boxer who's not too far out of their prime. But if you want to look towards other individuals, you got Joe Joyce, the big Chinese man who laid down Deontay Wilder. I believe it's Zhelang. I forget how to pronounce his name. You have him as well. You have Anthony Joshua, who for all intents and purposes is not going to mess around and take that fight. He's got his eyes set on Tyson Fury. He's been looking for that fight for the longest. There's no way he's going to mess around and go and fight against a Jake Paul. You can mess around and even have Ruiz, who's not even in the top 10 no more, go and show up and possibly try to go and fight him. You got Joe Joyce. All these different sort of individuals who you can mess around and try to go and call out because you would ultimately be the biggest payday fight they ever had access to. Now, granted, it may not jump off the damn paper like other names that are, in media and things of that nature, but it'll legitimize you in the eyes of actual boxing fans, and furthermore, the commission, to where you can work your way towards getting that title fight. Because I'll tell you something right now, and I'm 100% sure sports fans are really going to be up in arms if something like this mess around and happen, where you have Jake Paul, because he's able to generate so much attention and money behind his fights, mess around and get a heavyweight shot in front of motherfuckers who legitimately had earned their way to that point. And at that, stage, the whole thing is a shame. Because what's even the purpose of going and building up your doggone name when a motherfucker who could walk in with a bit of clout can jump the motherfucking line? So overall, I think what should happen moving forward, maybe somebody like a Deontay Wilder trying to go and get his footing again, call out Jake, go and fight that motherfucker. Don't have somebody who's underneath in a whole different weight class not have to fight against this dude because he keep jumping weight classes left and right. One time I'm fighting at 175, then I'm fighting over here at 200, then I'm gonna drop down over here, I'm gonna put on motherfucking 185, then I'm going up here to 220. Like, come on now, let's just figure out what fucking lane you fixing to be in, stay in that motherfucking lane, and make that goddamn thing work. But overall, I'm tired of the genjutsus that the Paul brothers keep trying to put motherfuckers in. Fighting against all these damn, legends of the sport way past their prime for all intents and purposes with no intentions of knocking their ass out. It's one thing if you're incapable of doing it. It's another thing if you watch the fight and there's constant controversy every single time. I'm tired, y'all tired, we all tired. At the end of the day, they got paid. Life moves on. This ain't gonna be something that I'm gonna be sitting around scratching my head, upset on the edge of my bed at 2 a.m. But why the hell couldn't Mike Tyson mess around and knock him out? How do you lose to Jake Paul? But seriously though, somebody's gotta put a stop to this, bro. Because I'm tired of seeing Jake Paul step into the doggone ring. He's getting these wins, but it's never a situation where you watch him get the win, you're like, all right, he's arrived. Give us a fight where you see Jake take on somebody on equal footing, equal caliber, or slightly, he better than it, to where you see it's a real challenge for him to go out and get the doggone W. Because when you look at the list of names of who he was able to defeat, ain't nothing really super impressive.